Major news on two disputed midterm election battles. Moments ago, Democrat Stacey Abrams ended her campaign and said she cannot win, but still wouldn't call it a concession speech in her hard-fought effort to overtake Republican Brian Kemp in the Georgia governor's race. In fiery remarks, Abrams claimed democracy failed Georgia, but added she will no longer stand in the way of officials certifying Kemp as the winner. Meantime, in Florida, they're doing it the old-fashioned way tonight, a hand recount of votes underway to find out who won the U.S. Senate race in the state. While the governor's race appears over after a machine recount and will be officially certified next week, Republican Ron DeSantis has declared victory for the second time. But the Democrat in that race, Andrew Gillum, retracted his concession earlier this week and has not conceded again, vowing as of a couple hours ago to fight on. We have Fox team coverage. Peter Ducey at the Broward County election headquarters again tonight with the Florida story. But we start off with the breaking news. Steve Harrigan in Atlanta with a very confusing message from Stacey Abrams. Good evening, Steve.
Ray, you're exactly right. This was a fiery, angry speech by Stacey Abrams and a little bit puzzling as well. She acknowledged that she lost the governor's race in Georgia to Brian Kemp. Kemp got 50.2% of the vote. He had a lead of about 50,000 votes out of 4 million cast. So Kemp really just managed to avoid a runoff election. Had he dipped under 50%, that would have happened next month. He avoided that. Abrams, till the very end, tried to gather and prove she had 17,000 more votes coming. She was unable to do that. So she gives her concession speech and at the same time says it's not really a concession. Here's Abrams.
To watch an elected official who claims to represent the people in the state baldly pin his hopes for election on the suppression of the people's democratic right to vote has been truly appalling. So let's be clear. This is not a speech of concession.
It certainly didn't sound like a typical concession speech either. Abrams said in a concession speech, you're supposed to say nice things about the race and the other candidate. She was having none of that. She said the state had failed Georgia. She said democracy had failed the voters in Georgia. And she said there was voter suppression across the state, and she blamed Brian Kemp, who was the chief election officer, the Secretary of State. She said he ran a vicious campaign. As for Kemp himself, who has been working with transition officials, earlier he said Abrams was having temper tantrums, but his tone has changed dramatically after this press conference by Abrams. Kemp issued the following statement: I appreciate her passion, hard work, and commitment to public service. So what we're seeing now is really a bitter end to a very bitter fight in a really closely contested contest in Georgia. Abrams, just 44 years old, will now be a private citizen, but we could likely see her in future races for governor or senator in Georgia. Right back to you.
And Steve, just to clarify, there's no phone call we know of between the two campaigns?
It also is lacking the traditional phone call. The Kemp team learned about it from this concession speech, which was not a concession speech.
All right, Steve Harrigan live in Atlanta. Steve, thank you.